Sorry, hello, 8th grade. It is day number 6 of career readiness, and today you're going to do some conflict resolution. So it kind of goes with your workplace scenarios and what happens when things aren't really going the best at work, and how do you deal with that. All right, so your conflict is basically a disagreement that people are having. It can be between people, it could be between groups of people, and it usually is just happening when people have different ideas, different opinions, or beliefs. So, I mean, generally, I really get along with pretty much most people, and I don't normally have disagreements at work. And sometimes I have to work with people that I might not necessarily choose to work with, but we have to figure out how to do that because you're not always going to have your friend with you at work, or you might have to work with somebody on a project. So, excuse me. These are good skills to learn now because you're going to use them really throughout your life. So let's think about how you react. Are you get angry and just yell at someone? Like you just tell them how it is, might yell at them. Are you a person that just kind of keeps things inside? You don't really tell people how you feel or why you're upset? Now, maybe some of you are the kind of keep it inside until you've taken as much as you can take, and then you turn into the you get angry and you let people know how you feel. Okay, there could be a combination of this. It's not necessarily one or the other. So, I'm going to give you the different conflict resolution skills with, an example of each one. Because today, you will have to say how you have used each skill, or if you tell me that you haven't used it, you're going to give me a way that it could be used. So something in your life or how you could use the skill. So the first one is negotiation, which is a discussion between two groups of individuals to reach an agreement. And it's really to make compromises. So here's an example. Maybe you and a sibling are fighting over who's going to do the dishes. And you talk about it and you agree like, hey, I'll wash them and you dry them. That way, neither one of us is doing all of the work. Or sometimes it's who sits in the front seat of the car. And again, you work out a plan and you are able to come up with the plan on your own without anyone else giving input. The next one is mediation, and that means when someone else has to intervene and they help with the conflict for those people to reach the agreement. The mediators are going to listen to both sides before they give a solution to the problem. So we could use you and a friend are having a disagreement and another friend listens to both sides and then says, you know what, hey, I think this is the best way to handle this situation and this can be a solution to your problem. The next one is leadership intervention. Management can make a decision that both parties must agree with. Use of conflict is especially serious. So, for example, like we're going to use it as you guys. So you and someone else is not getting along at all. This is where, let's just use a teacher. We'll use me. I can step in and say, you know what? I don't really want to listen to both sides of this. It's going to be a he said, she said. Here is my solution to the problem, and end of story. You don't get to plead your case. You don't try and work it out yourself. Somebody else comes in and says, hey, this is how it's going to be. Boom, done. There you go. There's the example. Active listening is taking the time to listen to what others have to say. So you are really paying attention to them. You hear what they're saying. You don't really talk back to them. So maybe if a sibling's upset with you, You just stop and listen to what they're saying, and you don't really talk back. That's hard. Problem solving is finding a creative solution to the problem. Sometimes they are pretty creative. Like, let's say you're baking a cake, you run out of oil, and you don't really want to go to the store again. But if you have applesauce at home, you could use applesauce instead. I know, kind of a little random, but. Group dynamics is just how people think and work. So finding the strengths within a group to assign, people different parts of the project so that everyone is doing, like their part that they're really good at. Maybe you're good at the artistic side, so you're going to offer to make the slides or design the slides. Maybe you would much rather present, so you offer to be the person who does the speaking. Constructive criticism is to help people grow without putting them down. And a good example would be a coach that's going to help you get better at something, like possibly swinging the bat level in order to hit the ball better. Could be an ELA teacher who gives you some suggestions and pointers on how to write better. They're not being mean about it. They're just trying to help you become better. I lost my train of thought. So anyway, they're just trying to help you become better. So Smart Futures number 3 is a little bit different because usually at the end on the thoughts, we like to have 4 sentences. But today it's different. You're going to say how you used each of those conflict resolution skills. If you haven't used it, you're going to say how it could be used. So you're not going to leave it blank, or you're not going to put, I haven't used this skill. That's not going to work. You can come back to the slides and see what each one of them mean, and you can see my example to help you. It doesn't say give me a definition. It says to give how it has been used. I'm adding the part of how it could be used. So you do have an example. That doesn't mean use my examples. That's just to help you for when you're completing yours. So I don't know what else I was going to say there. I'm going to show you in activity number 3. I do think it starts with a video, doesn't it? Yep, so here's a 3-minute and 52-second video for you.
Conflict resolution, a video by Smart Futures. A conflict is a disagreement between individuals or groups. They usually arise when people have different ideas, opinions, or beliefs. If they aren't resolved, people can become angry and frustrated. When you disagree with someone and get upset, it can be tempting to get angry and yell at them, or let it all out. Or you might keep all of your feelings inside and never tell that person you're upset. These can make the problem worse. Like it or not, everyone faces conflicts, so it's important to know how to resolve them effectively. If you have a conflict, there are a few things you can do. First, take a step back and try to calmly acknowledge that there is a conflict. This may seem obvious, but sometimes people never say why they are upset. But if you tell someone that you're upset and why, you can work together to find a solution. Here are some conflict resolution skills you can use to work towards a solution. Negotiation, a discussion between 2 groups or individuals to reach an agreement. They're often used to make compromises or solutions that will please both parties in some way or another. Jane and Mike work in the same office. Things started out okay, but a conflict developed. Mike takes personal phone calls on his break, and this disrupts Jane's work. Jane doesn't want him to talk on the phone, but Mike doesn't want to get up and talk on the phone anywhere else. He says it's my space, too. So they negotiate. After talking about the issue, they resolve the problem themselves. Mike will take personal phone calls when Jane is on her lunch break and away from her desk. This way, Mike can stay at his desk and Jane's work won't be interrupted. Another conflict resolution skill includes mediation. This occurs when someone else intervenes in a conflict to help the others reach an agreement. A mediator listens to both sides and buffers the intense emotions of those in conflict before suggesting a solution. If Jane and Mike couldn't work things out, maybe because they were both so frustrated, another coworker could step in and help them navigate the situation and find a solution. If negotiation or mediation don't work, then they could always try to take the problem to their leadership or management. Their management can make an executive decision that both parties will have to agree with. This type of resolution is typically used if the conflict is especially serious or work is being disrupted because of it. Jane and Mike's conflict wouldn't be important enough to take to their boss, but if they did, she might make a quick decision just to solve the problem, and Jane and Mike would likely follow it because she's their leader. There are other conflict resolution skills you can use. Whether you're solving your own conflicts or helping others solve theirs, whether you're negotiating, mediating, or leading, there are other skills you're using, maybe without even knowing it, but they're crucial to effective resolution. Active listening, really taking the time to listen to what someone has to say. Problem solving is coming up with creative solutions to problems. Understanding group dynamics, how people think and work. And offering constructive criticism that will help people grow rather than tearing them down. As we just saw, there are lots of different ways you can solve a conflict, and the method you use depends on the people involved and what the conflict itself is. If you or someone you know has a conflict, you can use these resolution skills to work towards a great solution.
Okay, so from there, in your Smart Futures, you are going to be doing the activity part, which is just answering questions. You will get your summary of the things that you've learned with Office 8 to help them with their conflict, and then your thoughts. Again, you're going to say how you used, properly or not, each of the conflict resolution skills. When you're finished, you're going to complete activity. You're going to get the ready confetti, as I call it. Hold on. Well, apparently I'm not getting the confetti this time. Whatever. I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I now have activity 3 done. Please make sure to mark it as complete in your Google Classroom. Otherwise, I will not be checking it. Your famous entrepreneur today is Ray Kroc, who's responsible for making McDonald's what it is today. He was an ambulance driver at the age of 15 with Walt Disney because he lied about his age. He joined the McDonald's brothers in 1954. They had 6 locations at that point, and he was the owner of the San Diego Padres from 1974 until he died in 1984. Right? Another reminder, it is or should be a Thursday. Make sure if you're missing work, you get that turned in before tomorrow at 12:30. All right, guys. Have a great day.